Hi everyone. Hi everyone. My name is Bolaji Olajide. Gonna be talking about improving developer productivity with AI. Now the title of this topic feels like it is specific for developers, but honestly, I feel like everyone uses AI these days. Whether you're using ChatGPT or you're using tools that have ChatGPT under the hood. And well, I'm a software engineer and I work at SourceGraph. SourceGraph is a how do I describe SourceGraph? I would say SourceGraph is a code search slash code AI company focused on improving developer productivity. What does that mean? How can we make you do your best work faster, more efficiently with the right tools? So SourceGraph used to be known for their code search product, but now we also have a code AI product called AMP. And part of my talk today is going to be centered around AMP. Next slide, please. Now, AI in software development. Hmm. Part of being a software engineer is having to deal with a lot of repetitive tasks, a lot of tasks that pro- probably you don't even like doing. So talking about things like you need to log into a server somewhere and do something, and maybe every 10 minutes do that. And that is why a lot of developers today, one of the things that they try to do is automate their work. Write scripts that run maybe every 1 hour, write script that work every 2 hours or 3 hours, and so on. And that is not a good use of your time, because what if you can outsource that particular thing to like an agent or something to do that? And that is where AI comes in. In the past 3 years, we've had like a huge rise in companies using AI. I think it was like I can't see the number here, but I think it was like 30 something percent as at 2021, and now it's about 50 or 60% right now as at 2024. I don't even know about 2025 yet. And what does this mean for AI in general? It means the world is beginning to accept that like artificial intelligence is a core part of our work, it's a core part of our life. It helps us move efficiently, something that would take you an hour or two 3 years ago is now taking you 5 minutes, because you could just ask an LLM, how do I do this? And it answers you appropriately. I'm actually happy that I get to speak after the last speaker, which talked about LLMs. My LLM is better than yours. We have so many LLMs today. He talked about Cloud Code, he talked about ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, and the likes. And one of the things you would discover is there seems to be like a war in like which is the best LLM. Is it Claude? Is it ChatGPT? On Twitter, they are like polls. Oh, this is good at this is good at that, that is good at this. And that is one of the places that one of the tools I'm going to talk about today, shines. Because traditionally, with the tools that you have today, there is the concept of a model selector, where you are being made to like choose um, whether you want to use Cloud Code or you want to use ChatGPT and the likes. But with AMP does its work by selecting the best model for you. And we'll get into that as time goes on. Next slide, please. Yeah, AI is now a part of every stage in software development, from writing code to reviewing the PRs to even testing. There are AI tools, AI agents that help you run your test, that help you run automated end-to-end test, where the agent mimics like an actual human doing the testing. So, say for example, you want to test that, oh, my landing page has this and this. You can write integration tests to do that, but you can also use AI, which will open your actual landing page in a web browser, check that these things exist. They can even log in with credentials and so on. And that is a huge rise from what AI has been used to what AI is used to do. Before 2024, AI was mostly like in code, AI was mostly used as a co-pilot. So give you suggestions based on your code. You are writing a for loop, you just type for, it helps you complete the rest based on the context that it has about that page. But today we have AI doing a lot more work, a lot more efficiency has been used by AI. And what do I mean by that? You can basically use AI to bootstrap a landing page in 5 minutes. You can use AI and you can use AI tools as agents and sub agents and just have like 10 sub agents doing like 10 different things at the same time, which means these 10 different things are things that you have to do one after the other before. But like right now, you could just outsource that work. And that shows how important AI is to the world. AI is not a replacement for software engineers, but AI is more of like a tool to augment the work that you do as a software engineer. Next slide, please. Now, we have the agentic AI and the traditional co-pilot. So you would see it, as I said before, the co-pilots before, that was in the era of 2021 to 2023. We had GitHub Copilot, we had SourceGraphs Cody, I think Windsurf also had it, and Cursor. It was mostly Copilot, so like basically it was more of autocomplete focus and ask it a question. How does authentication work in this code base? It goes through the code base, scans it, answers you. But like in the world that we live in today, we have the concept of agents. And basically, you can tell an agent to run actual command like an human would run. So, I need to run pm build and I needed to investigate the errors. Before, this is something that like when you get an error from running pm build, you have to go on Stack Overflow or go online, or sometimes even go into the tool that you're using. If it's Vite or ESBuild or whatever you are using, go into the tool, the GitHub page for the tool, look through the issues, see if anyone has reported it, and so on. But today, you could just type, fix this build error, and we deploy. And the AI knows what to do based on your code base. It knows to run pm build. It knows to grep the error, look for the stack trace, and like, this is what I would do to do this. And you can see the evolution of AI from 2021, which is just autocomplete and prompt driven, to being able to do things on their own. And that is just as at 2025. And 2026, we will hear about the next evolution of AI. Next slide, please. This is an example of ARM code. You can see I asked it a question like, I need you to do this. I have an open source project called CAT, and I was like, can you tell me how this works? And it's able to go through my code base and answer questions. And you can see, the previous slide. Yeah. And you can see the process that it takes. I know the screen is not very clear right now, but this is saying it's reading a file, it's reading these two files, and it's grepping. So that is to show you the capability of these models these days, these agents, that they can do the work like an actual engineer would do. Because if I asked you to if I gave you a code base and I said, figure out how this works, this is likely what you would do also. Look for specific files, specific keywords, and use that to be able to answer the question. And it's an evolution, and that is how powerful AI is these days. Next slide, please. So how do you integrate AI into your stack? You might say, okay, but first of all, how many of us here are engineers or developers? Okay, cool. I'm happy it's not everyone, because there is the misconception that it's only developers that AI is useful for, and that is very inaccurate. And I know the title of my talk is Improving Developer Productivity with AI, and it might feel like it's centered for only developers. But the truth of the matter is everyone is a developer, if you think about it. I work at a company where our mission is to make it so that everyone can code. And that doesn't mean that everyone has to have the title software engineer. It just means that you are empowered enough to be able to do what you want to do whenever you want to do it without having to call one software engineer. And what does that mean? I had a friend who she's a real estate manager, and she found out that she struggles with merging PDFs. The tools that are out there are very hard for her. She was like, it's so expensive, and she doesn't see the worth in paying about $100 every month for a tool that just merges 4 or 5 PDFs together. And what did she do? She opened up AMP, which is what one of the tools that we are building at SourceGraph, and she just started prompting it. They're like, hey, I want to build a PDF merger on the a PDF merging tool on the browser that allows me to merge multiple PDFs together. And in like an hour, she had something very basic that works. And you would say she's not a software engineer, but she's able to like make our work more efficient by using the tools that are available to her for free. Again, ChatGPT is free for everyone to use. AMP code is not free, but they have like a pretty good fair free tier that is good for everyone. So she's not a software engineer in the traditional sense, but she's able to use the tools that she has to make her work more efficient. And that is the reasoning behind making it so that everyone can code. It doesn't mean everyone has to be a software engineer. It just means that like you know that like you are empowered enough to do whatever you want to do. You are empowered enough to build whatever you want to build. Look at the people that like built Google. At the time when Google was being built, it felt like a very out of this world tool. Like, oh, what do you mean I can use this thing to like search anything I want in the world, look for browsers and everything? But the owners started and it was looking good and they kept building and building. And that is the mindset I think I need everyone needs to have today. So how do you integrate AI across your stack? You have AI in your IDE, you have AMP, you have Cursor, you have VS Code Pilot. In your GitHub PR, so AI is smart enough to review your PRs these days. We have Review GPT, Copilot Suggest, and so on. In design docs, so for folks that are designers, product managers, and all, you can also integrate AI into your tools. So whenever you write a product spec, you can have AI review it. You can ask you questions like, what are the shortcomings of this product? And it can help you make it better, and so on. Next slide, please. Next slide. This should not be showing. Yeah. So yeah, measuring productivity with AI. Yeah, I've talked about some of these tools, Cursor, AMP, Copilot, and stuff. But how are you able to measure the impact that these tools are doing? The impact of the work that these tools are doing. The earlier speaker talked about LLMs. Honestly, I don't think anyone has the time to like compare ChatGPT with Claude and stuff. That is more of what the researcher does. And it's good to have knowledge of this. I'm not disputing that. But basically, you need to use the right tools for the right situation. So you hear things like Claude Code is good for coding task compared to ChatGPT. But with the introduction of GPT-5, there is now a big competition between which one is better at coding, between GPT-5 and Claude Code. And to be honest, I don't think the average person is bothered by this. Like, you just want your stuff to work. Like, hey, fix this build. You don't care whether it's ChatGPT or Claude that fix it, as far as it is fixed. And that is the honest truth. And that is one of the reasons why I advocate for AMP. Aside from the fact that I work for the company that makes AMP, AMP is very different from the tools you are used to today, whether it's Cursor, Windsurf, whatever you use. I don't discriminate against IDEs or agents. But the reason why I feel like AMP is different is because AMP's design is different in terms of we don't have a traditional model selector. For example, how many of us have used Cursor here? By show of hands, okay. You should try Cursor. I think it's like the easiest way to like get into AI. Like just build something simple. It could be like a simple page and just do it. And one of the things with Cursor is you can switch between ChatGPT and Claude, Gemini, whatever you want. You can even bring in your own keys and do more stuff if you pay for the pro version, I think. And one of the things that we've noticed as a company is that these tools they are great at different things. So for example, Gemini is great. Gemini O3 or something is great at summarization. It's great at debugging than compared to Claude. And you have to be really good at prompting to be able to use these things to the best of their capabilities. And to be honest, I don't think most of us have the time to like say, oh, which prompt works for this, which prompt works for this. And that is where AMP shines. Because with AMP tries to figure out what you want to do and uses the best model for what you want to do. So what does that mean? If you want to debug, for example, AMP will use the best agent for debugging that it knows. If you want to generate code, it will use the best agent for that. If you want to like run some agents doing some things and stuff like that, it uses the best agent, best tool for that, as opposed to you having to be the one to choose. I know it feels like we're taking the power away from you, but the truth of the matter is that like we've done the work to be able to know which agent is which tool, which LLM is better for which task, and so on. Yeah. So how do you measure your productivity? Time saved in boilerplate coding and repetitive tasks. You want to start a new project. If you're a node developer, you run npm in it. It's something you have to run every time. There are also like, if you want to build authentication, there are like basic things that you would do. For example, creating the user stable, creating a password field. Those are like tasks that like they are very simple and you could just automate to AI. So how much of this task is your AI agent able to do on its own without you having to like type it out? So saving you some more time. The next thing, higher quality output with AI suggested tests and cleaner code. Yeah, code is most often times read more than it is written. Like the code you write once today is going to be read more times than you can imagine. So how much of this code that is being outputted by these agents are quality code? Yeah, then developers often feel faster but aren't always faster. So for example, you'd ask ChatGPT to generate this one. It feels like I can generate like this whole feature, but you now have to like spend an hour debugging the feature, which if you had written yourself, you'll probably spend 20 minutes. So how effective is your AI tool really? That's one thing that you should ask yourself. Next slide, please. Yeah, best practices. Start small, integrate AI into non-critical parts. One of the mistakes that I see people run into these days is they want to jump into the AI world. They like tell AI to like, oh, I want to build this whole feature. Just tell it build everything. But the truth of the matter is that like the way to work with AI is you have to start small. Instead of saying build me an app that does this, start small. Ask your questions. I want to build this. How do I start? It will give you step by step position. Right? Take those steps out, write it out, and start saying, oh, okay, how do I go about this? Am I able to use this to do this? And so on like that. Instead of just giving it a generic thing like build me a software that does this. Another thing to do is stay in control. Treat AI as a partner, not a replacement. I think a lot of time these days people just want to just outsource the work in fully to the AI tool. But like really you are meant to treat AI as your partner. Like as if you are talking, if you are building something with someone, you are like carrying the person along. Oh, step by step. You're not just going to dump everything on the person's head. And that is the right way to use AI, if you ask me. Use explainable AI. Ensure the teams understand why a change was made. So adding comments to code, telling the AI to explain why it does things this way is also helpful in you understanding what the AI is doing. Because whether you like it or not, you have more context than the AI. The AI is not able to, the AI is able to reason about code, but it's not able to have like a good mental model. That's the problem that AIs have. Like the mental model that AI has is not sustained throughout the duration of the work that you're doing with the AI. So you have to be the one in control. Next slide, please. Yeah, the downside, over reliance on AI leads to skill atrophy. Sometimes people don't use AI to augment their work; they just use it to just get by and stuff. You don't even understand what the AI is doing, and that leads to skill atrophy because AI will just do things the way it knows to be done, and it's trained based on public data. So sometimes the way the public data did this thing might not be the way you should do it. IP and code security concern, that is in the corporate sense, they still talk about who really owns the code that AI generates. Garbage in, garbage out, bad prompt, bad result. So again, it has to do with prompting. If you're not able to prompt the AI well, you don't get very good results. Then there is the need for AI governance in code review. You have to figure out how you want to use AI in your code reviews, because the reason why we have code reviews is so that we don't inject bad code into like whatever we are building. Next slide, please. Yeah, so what's next? Proactive AI, tools that act before being said. Sorry, this should not be showing. Next slide. This was Eden. Yeah, so as I said, the best developers won't be replaced by AI. They'll be the ones who know how to use it, because AI makes your work as a developer, which is everyone, more efficient, faster, and quicker. Then stay curious, experiment, and always remember AI is there to augment your daily workflow. That said, I want everyone to try out AMP. AMP is a coding agent developed by the company that I work for, SourceGraph. The URL is ampcode.com, ampcode.com. I think when you sign up, you get like $10 worth of free credit. You can use it in your terminal, you can use it in your VS Code compatible IDEs like VS Code, Cursor, Windsurf, and the likes. So try it out, and if you have questions, you can find me around or just talk to support via the AMP UI, and we're pretty fast to respond. But before I go, I think I have like 5 minutes. I just want to know, does anyone have questions? Yep.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I want to ask, you said AMP code, it will help you pick the best model. Okay, so if I want to like maybe fix a bug and I like need it to like make research on a particular documentation, like maybe give it the link to just maybe go through this documentation. I think I've used GPT-5 and I see that's very, very good at making deep research. And so would they auto do research with GPT-5 then fix the code with maybe cloud? Yeah.
Yeah, we are one of the first companies to embed GPT-5 in their AI tool. So if I use AMP from the CLI primarily. AMP, I think it's AMP, then double dash try GPT-5, and it will use GPT-5 for everything that you do. So we have tools like web search, read file, and so on. So if you give it a link, it will do the research and come back with you. And because of it gives you feedback, live feedback, how it reasons the problem, you can also see what it is doing. Like when it goes to, for example, I gave it a link to a documentation website. It goes to that link, tells you what it finds in that link right there in your terminal. So you see how it's reasoning to it. So it's not just doing something blindly and giving you a diff. It's showing you how it reasons through it, and you can always correct it and talk to it as you go on. Does that answer your question? Okay, yeah.
Hi, thank you very much for that session. I think my question is based around skill gap and what your opinion is. And I believe with AI making things very easy now, it seems like it's closing the skill gap, but it's not. You can imagine a junior developer that is building something that is what a mid developer can do. So from your own experience using AI tools, how would you think the future of upskilling would be like?
Yeah, as I said, the mission for SourceGraph where I work is to make it so everyone can code. I see the skill gap as reducing. You might not agree with it because I just feel like AI is more about how you use it. Like these tools are available. I can give you a knife. A knife in your hand could be a modern weapon. It could also be a kitchen utensils. It just depends on how you want to use it, right? So I could use a knife to probably tear this down, destroy something. I could use a knife to make a nice meal. It just depends on how I use it, and that's why I said in my slide that like AI is I see AI as a tool to augment your code. If you use it the wrong way, then obviously you have the skill gap, because that's why I advise using tools like AMP that shows you their reasoning model, so you understand what AI is doing. The problem I find these days is most people don't use AI to understand what is going on. They just want AI to get the job done, and that's the thing. You have to understand what it is doing, so that you know how to ask it the question. Because if you prompt it the right way, you get the right answer. So instead of saying fix this build, if you have more context about the build, you can say, oh, I'm using a static generator, Vite or whatever, to build this thing. I have this and this. Now I'm running into this issue when I run the build. Can you help me fix this? That is a different prompt. You have given it more context into it. So if you don't have that context, you obviously will just be telling the AI to do whatever it wants. So ultimately, I think it's up to who wields the tool. That depends on how it is used. Does that answer your question? Okay. Any more question? Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. And yeah, it was nice talking to everyone here.